Hey nerds, don't go anywhere because we've already seen one Obi-Wan Kenobi, but at the risk of sounding like a meme,
We've had one, yes.
how about we have a second Obi-Wan Kenobi? Because this is Ultimate Works Obi-2 from Episode 2 of Attack of the Clones. This thing is phenomenal. You don't want to miss it, so come with me to check it out.
May the Force be with you, Padawan.
Welcome back, fellow nerds. I am your host, as always, Luke Skywalker. Today we have a really cool one. As I was saying at the beginning, yes, we've seen already Obi-Wan Kenobi here from Episode 1. Really cool. Really blows away. You can go check that review. It'll be somewhere on, I think it'll be around here if you're seeing it on a cell phone, but if not, you'll have the link in the description. But we're going to check Obi-Wan Episode 2 lightsaber. And I know a lot of you are going to say, wait a second, that's very, very, very similar. And yes, you're right, it's very, very similar. But there's little nuanced differences that I thought it was worth to check out. So we're going to be comparing it against the Episode 1 just so you can see the differences up close and you can tell what those are. I'm going to be giving you a little bit of a breakdown of it. If you're new to the channel, first of all, subscribe. It means the world to me if you become part of our large fellowship. We're almost at 4,000 subscribers by the time that we're recording this, so thank you very much, guys, for the support. But if you're new here, what we do in these videos, besides of what everybody does in these videos, which is essentially show you, you know, the lights and the sounds and whatnot, we do a rating, we do a breakdown, and we rate things in 3 categories. We do ergonomics, so we basically talk of, you know, how it handles in the hand, including the weight, and you know, if there's any inconveniences when it comes to operating the lightsaber from an ergonomics point of view. We talk about the design, so you know, what details does it get right, what details are missing or are incorrect or not screen accurate, what things that stand out from that particular design, because some makers out there put their little spin into sabers, and there's nothing wrong with that, because sometimes it generates amazing lightsabers. So you know, I'm all for it. And we talk about sound, and when I mean sound, I not only mean sound fonts, because that not necessarily would be fair, because you can pretty much customize and add whatever sound fonts you want. But we always check what comes out of the box on the saber to see, you know, if you actually need to add sound fonts to that lightsaber, because sometimes you do. And you know, the volume, how well does it go through the hilt, if you have any issues with it, if you know, all that sort of stuff. We break all those 3 down, we rate it, and then we give you an overall rating. We talk about its pros and cons, and we tell you if this is a recommended lightsaber from the Fellowship of the Nerds or not. So, without further ado, let's open this bad boy, because it's really, really cool, I promise you. Ultimate Works offers us another of their custom boxes. You know, this is custom sabers. I find that funny. And of course, we're going to find our instructions. And I love that their instructions are specific of each lightsaber that you get from them. So, you know, usually you get, you know, like just a generic thing, but this, at least they bother enough to like print something and show you, hey, this is a lightsaber that you got and this is what's going to come in this box. So I find that cool. We want to find our lightsaber here. We're going to find, we're not going to be able to close that again easily. We're going to find here gloves, and we're going to find here, and there's a reason for the gloves, because this is a fingerprint magnet. We're going to find here our charging cable, our retention screw on our little screwdriver, Allen screwdriver. All around the usual cool stuff that we're used to from Ultimate Works. And here it is, nerds. Look at this. Look at this beauty of a lightsaber. Really, really cool. Now, let me grab Episode 1 real quickly here, just so I can give you a breakdown. This is an 89 Sabers variant, and this is Ultimate Works. A few differences. If you put them side by side, Episode 2 is a little bit shorter, so that's one thing that it has. The blade plugs are entirely different, which I don't think there's anything wrong. I like that there's each has its own thing. They both have the same type of, you know, red button, golden button, but the episode 1, the gem is like this, and the episode 2, the gem is yellowish. You will see here, sort of like LEDs. This is essentially, whenever you turn this one on, these light up. Whenever you turn this one up, it doesn't. And that's pretty much how it is in the movie. So I actually like that small detail. And then here you can see that this pommel has the little holes and this one doesn't. And you can compare the pommels themselves. You can see that the one from episode 1 is shorter and rounder. The one from episode 2 is longer and more oval shaped, sort of ish. So those are the differences. When it comes to weight, they're virtually the same, and in terms of handling, they're also pretty much the same. So absolutely phenomenal in that sense. Also, it's the same type of operation. So you have ignition and outs, although because it's Ultimate Works and you do have the free kit, depending on which way you insert it. If you insert it one way, this will be the main and this will be the aux, and if you insert it the other way around, it'll switch the buttons. It doesn't change anything other than that, but you know, if you want the experience of right button is the ignition, then put in the way that is, and I'm about to show you how that is. Now, whenever you want to get this to work, so the red button is your main button, you have to insert this with the battery up. So what I mean up is, like, you know, the battery must be on the side where the buttons are. As long as you do that, whenever you turn on the core, which was already turned on.
Oh, not good.
And I completely didn't realize.
Oh, not good.
There we go.
Oh, not good.
That's it. So the red button is the ignition and this is the aux. Now, you would have noticed that I had to long press it. Reason for that is because this has been fine-tuned by our friends in SaberSense. And there's a big reason for that. You're going to check it whenever we see the lightsaber outside. And I'm also going to show you it here with a bit more of a close-up. But you already heard some noise when that lightsaber was on there. And I promise you, it's very, very cool. Now, how about we actually do that? I'm going to take it outside, show you what this looks like in the dark. You know, we'll swing it a bit so you hear the smooth swing and all that, and the sound font. This is the sound from Kyber Phonics OB2. Really phenomenal. Not only because it's Kyber Phonics, but also because it gives you Obi-Wan. It gives you a bit of the star, so Obi-Wan and Coruscant. It gives you Obi-Wan Kamino. It gives you Obi-Wan Geonosis, which is fantastic. This one in particular, we didn't include anything Geonosis-wise because we will be reviewing Saber Bay / Laredo Sabers / SaberSense, because we actually got it from SaberSense because it was impossible for us to get it any other way. The one that's called the Geonobi, which is specifically the one that he gets, that spare one that he gets on the Geonosis arena. The same way that we saw Anakin's Geonosis, I thought it was only fair that we also saw Obi-Wan's Geonosis. So there's that. We'll be doing that very soon. But let me stop talking. Let's take this one outside and blow you away with it.
Obi-Wan! That's very impressive. You must be very proud. Why do I get the feeling you're going to be the death of me? Your clones are very impressive. You must be very proud. Oh, not good.
Well, there you go. Absolutely a cool lightsaber. You have to agree with me. I absolutely love it. This lightsaber, one thing that I forgot to mention to you guys when it comes to differences between this and the episode 2 is that this has 2 retention screws and they're hidden, they're black, so they hide very well. But it has 2, where the one from episode 1 only has 1 retention screw. So there is that. Now let's check out our Samphon, and this one is really cool, again from Kyberphonics.
Obi-Wan!
Your clothes are very impressive. You must be very proud.
This swing of it, everything is phenomenal. One thing I love is that you hear that really aggressive hum. It's exactly the same as Anakin Skywalker's episode 2 Tusken Terminator Samphon. I think it's fantastic that both Master and Apprentice would have a similar hum, at least on that movie. So absolutely a knockout for me.
Why do I get the feeling you're going to be the death of me?
Now, we also have a couple more Samphons for Obi-Wan for episode 2. So we have this one,
Obi-Wan!
which is exactly the same, but it has the rain effect that you would have seen outside. I'm not going to get to that just yet, because I want to bring all the lights down for it, but we'll get back to it, and I promise you, really cool.
This is Master Jedi
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
This is our Camino Samphon. You can hear that the hum has changed here a bit. I think it's because, you know, Anakin and Obi-Wan are not together. So, absolutely cool, in my mind.
Your clones are very impressive. You must be very proud.
You want to buy some death sticks?
You don't want to sell me death sticks.
I don't want to sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Even though that's not part of Camino, that cracks me up every single time. So absolutely phenomenal.
Blast, that's why I hate flying.
And now we put our lights down just so I can show you the really cool.
Your clones are very impressive. You must be very proud.
I'm hoping that you can get this on camera, because this is phenomenal. You can see the little, and this of course is to evoke the section of the movie where Obi-Wan fights Django in the rain, and obviously the rain is hitting the lightsaber. That's why you hear the sound of the rain falling. And this is something that SaberSense was going to do for us, and I just, you know, I couldn't resist to get this. So this is absolutely fantastic. And of course, you do get
Your clones are very impressive. You must be very proud.
your
You want to buy some death sticks?
I don't mind flying, but what's yours doing is
I don't want to
suicide.
sell you death sticks.
You want to go home and rethink your life.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Anakin! How many times have I told you? Get away from cars and company!
this is a fantastic thing. If you want to get this effect and you don't know how to do it, you can always consult our friends in SaberSense, because this is really cool work that they've done with this. And you definitely shouldn't miss out. Now let's continue with the rest. Now, we've included all the post-off sound, but obviously using the codes that already come as part of the pack that Kyberphonics will sell you. Again, absolutely amazing that you not only get the sounds and stuff, you get more, so you can make it your own, which is always a knockout for me. Let's check out the rest of the sound fonts.
I'll show you the dark side.
Kylo Ren,
That lightsaber was Luke's.
Luke's lightsaber from episode 7,
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
episode 6,
I am no Jedi.
Ahsoka's
Okay.
I've come to kill you.
Old Man Maul,
I claim this sword, and my rightful place as leader of Death Watch.
not so Old Man Maul,
This party's over.
Mace, Palpatine,
This weapon is your life.
and we're back to it. It doesn't come with a lot of sound fonts, but they're all fantastic, so 100% satisfied with them. you at the end of the day, you don't want 50 sound fonts on your lightsaber because you know it really doesn't make a lot of sense. Now let's go over the pros and cons and our ratings. In our ratings, we're gonna start with ergonomics like we usually do. And the ergonomics of this lightsaber are really, I would say it's a 9.5 out of 10. The reason why it doesn't get a 10 is just because I feel that it's missing a little bit of weight. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. You don't want something bulky in your hand. But once you put a blade, and I'm talking any blade, because of course you will have blades that are lighter and all that, but like in general, you insert any blade, and it doesn't feel 100% compensated, and that's because the hilt itself is a little bit light, not light, so you know it kind of makes it a little bit unbalanced. So I wish it had a little bit more of weight to it, but other than that, it doesn't. There's nothing in the lightsaber that makes it bad to use, to operate, to swing. So it is almost perfect, but I just wish that it had a little bit more of weight to it. In terms of design, this gets a 9, and even though I love all the features, I love how accurate it is to episode 2, they could have used something that was, you know, more brass, because this thing is a genuine fingerprint magnet, guys. Like this, if you're one of those that hates it, this thing is going to drive you insane. So I don't mind it that much, and I know that, you know, a lot of people use gloves and stuff. I don't get that technical, but yeah, if it bothers you, you are gonna need gloves, because it's just it is a fingerprint magnet. So I think that's kind of the downside of this design. Probably you could argue, well, you know, if you really want to make it accurate, you have to make it chrome like that. There are other materials that they could have used. So I just think that that's the reason why it's gonna rate like that. But having said that, the fact that, you know, you get 2 retention screws, that they're black, so they're hidden, very well hidden there, that you get the different gem, that, you know, you get all the accuracy, the rest of the accuracies from the movie, that definitely takes it up to a 9. And sadly, you know, it just takes away the point because of the, yeah, like even right now I'm seeing it, and every time I'm like swiping it to take it away, like I'm giving it more fingerprints somewhere else. So that's really that. But other than that, design wise, this is as accurate as you can get. So absolutely phenomenal from Ultimate Works. And in terms of sound, I know that just said that you don't want 50 sound fonts on your lightsaber, true, but also you want at least some, you know, a few, and this one comes a little bit short in amount of sound fonts, at least out of the box. You can add whatever, and we've definitely done that with OB2s from Kyberphonics, but that's also gonna put it on a 9 out of 10, because it could have bring, and I don't know why, because I have plenty of other Ultimate Works and they do come with more sound fonts, so not really understanding why this one didn't bring that much. It could have been a fluke. I will never know. But other than that, it definitely brings a 9 out of 10. So you can see the total rating right here. It's absolutely fine. I mean, you're talking, it's above a 9. So this is definitely going to make it a recommended lightsaber from the Fellowship of the Nerds. Having said that, do realize one thing, and it's neither a pro or a con, but something to have in mind. You can get this on a pre-kit, which means that it's ready for you to put whatever core you want, either Profi or Asteria, and by that token, you can get this with Profi or with Asteria. This is Profi. We didn't want to go with Asteria with this because we wanted to do the little sailor thing off the lights that you've seen on the blade outside. So it was impossible to do that with the sound and everything with Asteria. And I kind of thought, yeah, no, I want that to be as cool as it can be by our friends from SaberSense. So that's the reason why this is. But it could have been an Asteria core, and that would have been fine too, because we've seen plenty of Asteria cores. We've recently, not that long ago, we saw, for example, Luke Skywalker's episode 7 and 8 from Ultimate Works with an Asteria core, and it was great. So, you know, don't be afraid of getting Asteria. Just remember that it's going to be a little bit different. But on the plus side, if you were to get that, you don't necessarily need to send it or have a Sabersmith, or you yourself be proficient in Profi. Asteria is very user-friendly, so it it does have that. And on that video from Luke Skywalker, I gave you a tip on how to add the post-off sounds that you couldn't get on the stereo, so go and check that one out as well if you want. And that's been our review, nerds. I hope that you find that useful. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, leave a silly comment for the algorithm. Tell me which one would you prefer. Would you take the episode 1, or would you rather go with OB2 lightsaber? I think they're both fantastic, and that's the reason why I wanted to have them both. Even though they're visually very, very, very similar, and it's kind of, why would you want to have two lightsabers that look the same? But it's pretty much the same reason we got the Luke Skywalkers, especially the green ones, because yes, they're the greens and they look virtually identical, but they have the subtle differences from each showing that I thought it was a really nice thing to have. So there is that. Also, I know there's lore behind the lightsaber as to why they decided to go with a pretty much virtually identical design on episode 2 than on episode 1, and then why the sudden change to episode 3. Of course, they need to align it with what was going to be on episode 4 that we had already seen in the original trilogy. But it's just one of those silly weird things that on this one they decided to have a little bit of continuity and make the lightsabers be similar. So I thought that was always a cool thing. But nerd explaining over. I hope that you enjoyed this lightsaber review, and if you did, and like I said, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and leave a silly comment for the algorithm. I've been your host, Luke Skywalker. As always, remember, nerds, the Force will be with you always. Remember to live long and prosper, and may the odds be ever in your favor, Melanin. And remember, until we meet again, mischief manage. I'll see you around, nerds.